Breaking this evening, the Department of Justice indicting a former Voice of America employee for threatening Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia revealing the suspect made 8 calls over 15 months threatening to use firearms to kill the Congresswoman, her staff, as well as their families. Joining me now is Senior Advisor for U.S. Agency for Global Media, Kari Lake. Kari, thank you so much for joining us.
I'm glad to be here. I wish it weren't for a story so disturbing as this, to think that the American taxpayer is footing the bill for these people at Voice of America to work there, and that one of them allegedly was using the taxpayer-funded equipment to threaten assassination on a sitting member of Congress. It's beyond belief, and I hope that if found guilty, that this guy has the book thrown at him.
You're the Trump administration official overseeing Voice of America. Talk to me about all the bias in the media and how you are working hard to root it out.
Well, it's really obvious that the media has been biased toward a leftist agenda, a globalist agenda. 95% of most newsrooms across the country are filled with people who are Democrat or left-leaning. That's just a fact. I mean, if you look at it. Mm-hmm. But, you know, it's one thing to have beliefs that are left or left of center, and it's another thing to threaten somebody. And for 15 months, Representative Greene, her family, her staff members and their family had to endure death threats coming from somebody who's calling into their office in Georgia, threatening to show up at book signings and murder them, kidnap them, according to the indictment. This is appalling. I mean, I know Marjorie Taylor Greene personally. I know that she's been enduring all kinds of threats for a long time, including swatting at her house, where the police show up because somebody had called in and said there was a incident there, and they showed up with guns trained on the front door. This is terrifying, and the fact that it's coming from Voice of America, a taxpayer-funded entity, is beyond appalling, and it's so criminal. My question is, how was this allowed to go on for 15 months before it was finally investigated seriously enough to bring about not only an indictment but an arrest? And the fellow who was arrested was a technician at Voice of America. Again, he has not been found guilty, but the indictment has led to his arrest. And according to the indictment, these threatening calls happened over the course of 15 months, calling and saying that he was going to kill people with an AR-15 at book signings. And it's absolutely horrible. He was also a volunteer member of a local Maryland area police, like a volunteer squad. They've since obviously fired him after that. Thankfully, he's been arrested. He's no longer at Voice of America. He voluntarily resigned and retired from the agency about 2 days after I showed up, after President Trump put me on the job.
We have less than a minute left. What do you think about the fact that you have the media barely covered this story that you mentioned? I mean, probably the first time people are hearing about this story is when they tune into Newsmax.
They should be covering it, because we're actually hearing a lot about, you know, political violence, but it seems to be coming from the left, accusing the folks here in America first of political violence. And what I'm seeing in the news is that the political violence seems to be coming from people who are leftists, whether it be Antifa, whether it be people with a leftist bent, TDS, who are threatening people on the right, and it's got to stop. Let me tell you, I'd be sitting here right now just as angry if these threats were going toward a member of the Democrat Party, whether it be AOC or Bernie Sanders. I don't believe that we should be pushing violence in that manner. And I'm appalled that Representative Greene has had to endure this and that her staff has had to go through it. And like I said, after a trial and after the charges are levied against him, I hope that if found guilty, that the court and the jury will throw the book at him. 27 years is what he's facing in prison if found guilty.
Kari Lake, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.